about. And a reading we got this week brings that home. S&P Global's Flash Purchasing Managers Index, we're talking May data here, is a close to real-time snapshot of pretty much the whole private sector economy. It's based on a survey of the people who do the ordering of supplies and finished goods at manufacturers, as well as consumer and business demand in the services sector. So that's the whole smash right there. And the results were, well, as I said, complicated. So it's a good thing we've got Marketplace's Mitchell Hartman to sort it all out for us.
We start with an almost quote from Charles Dickens.
It's a tale of two economies.
That's Chris Williamson, Chief Business Economist at S&P Global Market Intelligence.
Manufacturing doing very well. Production levels and order books in the last couple of months have been growing at rates we've not seen for 4 years or so.
On the other hand,
in the services economy, you've got a nastier turn, a near stalling of growth.
Let's start with manufacturing. It's booming for a couple reasons, says economist Bill Adams at Fifth Third Commercial Bank.
Investment in data centers and in the AI boom.
Also, strong business investment driven by tax changes in the One Big Beautiful Bill. Adams says services, meanwhile, are slowing from
headwinds to the real estate industry from high mortgage rates and hesitant consumer sentiment translating to softer demand for service-providing businesses.
It's important to note, though, we're not yet seeing a downturn in discretionary spending, says Rob Hayworth at U.S. Bank Wealth Management.
Consumer data like open table restaurant bookings and TSA throughput at the airports, all those are telling us that consumer behavior is not faltering.
One clear warning sign from the PMI report is sharply rising input costs for manufacturing businesses, says Scott Anderson at BMO Capital Markets, caused by
just the war itself, anticipated supply chain disruption, increasing transportation costs,
which will only get worse with time, says Fifth Third Commercial Bank's Bill Adams.
The pickup in input prices is a big warning to the Fed that if the Strait stays closed, if energy supplies continue to be interrupted, we are entering into a large inflationary shock. It's starting in the manufacturing sector, but
if it lasts a few more months, he says, it'll spread through the whole economy. I'm Mitchell Hartman for Marketplace.
Saw a bird that actually converted them. They call it a spark bird.
Grab your binoculars, gang, but first, let's do the numbers. Dow Industrial's up 294 today, 0.6%, 50,579. The Nasdaq added 50 points, that is 0.2%, 26,343. The S&P 500 gained 27 points, that is just shy of 0.4%, 74 and 73. For the week, the 5 days gone by, the Dow picked up 2 3/10%. The Nasdaq rose just shy of about 0.5%. The S&P 500 added 0.9%. The Chinese computer manufacturer Lenovo reported a big jump in quarterly revenue, sent its shares 19.75% higher in Hong Kong. That news also boosted some U.S. computer makers. Dell Technologies added 16.75%. HP accumulated 15.25%. Bonds rose, yield on the 10-year T-note fell 4.55%. You're listening to Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Amazon Business. With smart business buying, AI tools help to optimize user experience for purchases paired with delivery options built for business. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com. And by Revenued, providing working capital for businesses whose cash flow is holding them back. Revenued approves businesses based on revenue, not credit, with funds approved and available in a day. More at getrevenued.com. And by BMC. BMC helps customers automate, manage, and optimize their complex IT environments. Learn more at bmc.com.
Spokane Public Radio is your hub for information that you can use. We bring you stories from around the world, across the nation, and throughout the inland Northwest. Stay with SPR News.
film festival is putting the concept of cinema without borders to the test as residents of Nogales, Mexico and Nogales, Arizona watch films together from both sides of the border wall.
Our kind of metaphorical goal is to erase the border through the power of film.
I'm Scott Detrow. How films are bridging community across the border on All Things Considered from NPR News.
We bring you All Things Considered today from 3:30 until 6, right here on SPR News.
Support for Marketplace on KPBX has been provided by STCU Business, meeting business and commercial banking needs throughout the Inland Northwest. More information at stcu.org/business.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Risdall. Spotify announced a new feature this week. It's called Reserved. It's supposed to get more concert tickets into the hands of actual fans instead of scalpers who are going to sell them on the secondary and inevitably pricier market. But while some big-name arena tours are indeed selling out, there's a whole other world of small independent music venues that are just trying to keep their doors open. A report from the National Independent Venue Association last year found almost 2/3 of those clubs are not making any profit. Toby Parks owns a 250-person capacity venue in Des Moines, Iowa. It's called XBK Live. She's also the vice president of the National Independent Venue Foundation. Toby, welcome back to the program. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kai.
How are things business-wise at XBK Live?
You know, we're very fortunate that we are doing quite well here in Des Moines, Iowa, but I can't say that is necessarily the case for other independent venues across the country. It's been kind of a hard row post-pandemic for a number of reasons, but you know, we're doing okay. We're hanging in there.
When you say you're doing okay, I mean, you know, are you sold out on a Friday, Saturday night?
I wish we were every Friday or Saturday night, but you know, really one of the big issues that we're facing is, you know, I think we in the independent sector are really trying to remake the connection with music fans. I think, you know, a lot of times due to the secondary ticket market and ticket scalpers, you know, people have gotten used to it feeling like they're going to battle to get a ticket to see their favorite artist. So I think a lot of times they're not really thinking like, oh, I can spend $20 and go to my local music venue in their own communities, in their own neighborhoods.
That's so interesting because it's not like, and this is, I'm not saying this pejoratively, I'm not saying it well at all, but it's not like your competition is like Taylor Swift, right? And those big stadium shows.
It actually is. You would be surprised. You know, when people are, you know, in a position where they're paying literally hundreds or thousands of dollars for this one big concert, they're not going and spending $20. You know, they're saving every dime that they can to go to this big concert. So that really is a huge part of some of the things that we're battling, is just trying to figure out where we fit in people's entertainment budgets if they have one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Talk to me, would you, about the sort of the macroeconomic environment, right? Inflation is up and consumers are cranky as they always are. Is that adding to your woes?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, when people are paying exorbitant gas prices, I mean, that's hard not only from the venue perspective because there's less money in people's pockets, but I would say, you know, from the artist perspective even, you know, there's a lot of concern about artists being able to afford to actually be able to go on tour. So, you know, we're fighting a lot of things on top of, we as concert promoters and venue owners, you know, we make most of our money from concessions and people, you know, buying drinks at the bar, and there's a significant downturn in people drinking. Like, great for people being healthy, but it's really hard on the pocketbooks of small music venues.
It sounds, we started with me thinking you were doing all right, and now it sounds not great, honestly.
It's, you know, it's a battle every day, and, you know, people who do this work, you know, those of us in the independent sector, we don't do this because, you know, we think we're going to make tons of money. We do it because we love our communities and we love helping develop artists. You know, I always like to say there's no Taylor Swift without stages like mine, you know, and that's why we do it. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough that XBK is my primary source of income. Me, like, you know, every other person in America right now has multiple jobs, so I can't complain.
Well, let me take that side hustle turn you just gave me and talk about this other thing you do. You're an intellectual property attorney, right?
I am an IP attorney and entertainment attorney, and also have recently just started a new tech company. As we're talking about the economics of the live sector, you know, we as concert promoters and venue owners pay a lot of money into royalties to public performance societies, and so I've created some technology to help make it easier for artists to submit setlist data so they can participate in the royalty pools with their respective PROs.
Got it. So the people who own the rights to the music.
Correct. They represent songwriters and own the rights to the underlying compositions. Yep.
Interesting. So it's a side hustle, but it's very, very parallel, right?
It's 100% parallel, and I think that, you know, from the perspective of artists, as we said, it's so expensive for artists to tour these days, and you know, we need those bands to be on tour to keep our doors open. So you know, we're doing everything in our sector to help them.
Let me back you up a little bit to some of the things that you're dealing with. You mentioned people not drinking as much anymore, which great for society, maybe, you know, not as good for your profit margin. How else are you using this space? Because I imagine at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning, it's you got this space, you got to figure out how to use it. Forget just Saturday and Sunday night or Friday and Saturday nights. That's not going to do it for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten really creative. You know, we do a lot of kid shows. You know, we'll open up on a Saturday morning and have bands that cater to kids. You know, we've really leaned in heavily to our NA beverage service. So, you know, we have a much broader range of non-alcoholic cocktails and things. And we also do a lot of community service work. So we work with a lot of local nonprofits to give them space. So instead of, you know, seeing your live concert, you might also be going to a yoga class.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Toby Parks. She owns XBK Live. They're in Des Moines, Iowa. Toby, thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, guys.
Roughly 1 in 3 people in these United States, to the tune of $100 billion a year, participate in the birding industry. I know. I was surprised too. But if you bought a bird feeder to watch the robins and the chickadees in the backyard, then you too are a bird watcher in the eyes of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And it turns out there is no better time to talk about birding than May, right in the thick of spring migration season, which, as it happens, is when Northwest Ohio hosts the aptly named biggest week in American birding. Marketplace's Kelly Wells went to see what's what.
Tanya Tice runs a seasonal ice cream stand called Barnside Creamery. She says she owes a lot of its success to bird watching, a hobby she doesn't really know much about at all.
As their birding week festivities have come to be more known and have grown, so has our business right alongside of it.
Her business is on a rural stretch of road about 25 miles east of Toledo. She's under a migratory flyway, and since she's a mile away from the Lake Erie shore, lots of birds stop around here before attempting to cross it, which is why Northwest Ohio is home to the country's largest annual birdwatching festival. The week of this year's festival, temperatures were in the 50s, and it was cloudy, not traditional ice cream weather, but it's Tice's biggest week of the season, and the local businesses that supply her ingredients know it.
When I call for my orders, they're like, oh, yep, it's birding week, because Tanya just talked about it.
The biggest week in American Birding Festival brings more than $50 million to Northwest Ohio every year. Hotels sell out months in advance. People fly in from most U.S. states and multiple countries, and there's no shortage of gear to buy. The conference center lobby is lined with booths of bird feeders and bird art and bird books and bird tours. Then there's the optics tent filled with binoculars and scopes and camera lenses worth more than my car. That tent is run by Whitney Lanfranco.
Even just these festivals, like the amount of volume we move, I mean, and there's more and more people starting birding every day.
Birding had a major moment thanks to COVID. Obviously, because it's an outdoor, socially distanced activity and birds never stop doing their bird things. One popular phone app, eBird, saw engagement double going into the pandemic. Another one, Merlin, grew 5-fold. And a lot of newbies go out and buy binoculars.
We might have, again, those folks come in today and buy a $200 pair, but if they stick with it over the years, they'll continuously buy more equipment, go to cameras, go to spotting scopes, upgrade their binoculars. It just, keeps going.
So that's what bird watchers are spending money on, but the why still eluded me. So I went on a tour. What's everybody staring at this time?
It was a northern Peru.
Okay.
It's a warbler.
Okay.
It's not very colorful.
This tour consists of a few dozen people following behind a knowledgeable man in a matching yellow lanyard and ball cap, occasionally stopping when they catch a glimpse in the brush that I definitely don't have the skill to spot. Rob Ritma, who runs one of the nature tour companies at the festival, lends me his very nice binoculars, which I learn requires skill to use properly.
Yeah, but you're moving your head you move the binoculars to your eyes, not your eyes to the binoculars.
Okay.
So keep your eyes on the bird.
Now I've lost it.
We'll try again.
An hour later, after more tries than I want to disclose, I finally spot what looks like a yellow ping pong ball with wings. I see him. I did it. Woohoo! That's so exciting.
It is. Congratulations.
Greg Miller, who's leading the tour, is perhaps even more invested in my success than I am.
So people who haven't known about birding and then they saw a bird that actually converted them, they call it a spark bird.
Is that my spark bird?
This could be your spark bird if you start birding now because of this.
You have to tell me what kind of bird this is again.
This is Wilson's warbler.
My spark bird hasn't inspired me to drop $1,000 on binoculars, but I did hang a bird feeder in my yard, or 3, in Oak Harbor, Ohio. I'm Kaylee Wells for Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Barron's Investor Circle, a new product offering investors stock picks, market insights, and access to the Barron's editors behind over a century of financial reporting. Learn more at barrons.com/investor circle. And by Fidelity Investments, a dedicated advisor can help build a flexible wealth plan. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC.
This final note on the way out today, a pop quiz for the monetary policy aficionados among you. Kevin Warsh, now properly Chair Warsh, was sworn in at the White House this morning by Justice Clarence Thomas. But who do you suppose was the last Fed chair sworn in at the White House? And for bonus points, who did the swearing in? Anybody? Okay, Alan Greenspan, sworn in by Vice President George H.W. Bush in 1987. Alan Greenspan, by the way, a couple of months ago, turned 100 years old. Our theme music was composed by B.J. Liederman. Marketplace's executive producer is Nancy Fargali. Joanne Griffith is the Chief Content Officer. Neil Scarborough is the Vice President and General Manager. And I'm Kai Risdell. Have yourselves a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you back here on Monday, all right? This is APN.
This is SPR News. We're coming up on 3:30. Good afternoon. On All Things Considered, the Department of Homeland Security is requiring all U.S. passengers returning from Ebola-affected countries to arrive at a single airport, Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia. And President Trump has endorsed MAGA loyalist Ken Paxton over incumbent John Cornyn in Texas's Senate race. Texas Democrats say it opens a path for their first Senate victory in decades. Those stories ahead on All Things Considered. This is SPR.
Support comes from NAMI Spokane. Join NAMI and community partners in recognizing Behavioral Health Awareness Month this May, presenting a series of events designed to build connection and raise awareness. Learn more at NAMISpokane.org. Sponsored by Spokane County.
A Prairie Home Companion brings its America the Beautiful tour to the Fox Theater in Spokane on May the 30th with our sound effects man, Mr. Fred Newman, Heather Massey, Christine DiGiuliardo, Rich Dworsky, the Guys All-Star Shoe Band, and of course, the news from Lake Wobegon. Tickets available at foxtheaterspokane.com.
It's All Things Considered. From NPR News, I'm Mary Louise Kelly.
And I'm Juana Summers. Stephen Colbert has signed off the show he hosted for more than a decade.
His late-night rivals stopped by to send him off.
We came to say we're going to miss you. Late night is not going to be the same without you.
Yeah. Without you, where will Americans turn to see a middle-aged white man make jokes about the news?
First, this news.